Zahra would bleed and plead, don't push, there's an ayol for
Jiddu, I need to tell you a secret. I had an exam today and I cheated on the exam, and to be honest, I feel like it's eating me up inside as if it's haram.
Your father used to do the exact something and would always get in trouble. But you have done it now and cannot go back. I don't know if it is haram. Khair inshallah.
Thanks, Jiddu. Jiddu, I wanted to ask if it's halal to buy lottery tickets. They're so cheap and we could make a lot of money.
I don't know if it is halal or haram, but never think about something like that again.
Okay, I was just asking. Jiddu.
Ta'abitni, what do you want now?
I just wanted to ask if Sweet's beef gelatin is halal or haram.
You're supposed to check it before buying it, not after. I don't know if this is halal or haram.
Okay.
What now? I am trying to relax. Why do you keep asking me? تعال هنا الخاطر الله. Just go watch Ahkam SOS. Any question you have, they can answer you. You can call them, message them, anything. Ask as much as you like. They can answer any question from any marja, okay?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Now, this is a live show. We're taking all of your live questions, so if you have a question you'd like to ask, just scan the QR code in the corner or dial the WhatsApp number. You can send your questions straight there. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah, the technical team will send them to me on my trusted iPad here. I'm your host, Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Ma'as. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Alaikum assalam.
How are you doing this evening, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah.
Fantastic, mashallah. Just a quick reminder, we're taking in your questions. If you'd like to call in, 0203 515 0199, or if you're outside the UK, you can call the WhatsApp number right there on the bottom. Sheikh, before we begin, we have heard in discussions, especially on the Minbar, that we have Muslims, and then after becoming Muslim, you become mu'min, you become a believer. And the Quran has mentioned so many times about the mu'min, Ya ayyuhal ladhina mu'minun, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, and so forth, and addressing the mu'min. What I wanted to ask was that we being Shia, is there something special about us? Did we decide that we wanted to be Shia before we entered this earth? Has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the mu'mineen and the Shia different to the way He has created everybody else?
Inshallah. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Yes, indeed, we have narrations with this regard that, for example, the Imam says that our Shia are made from our tina, our original creation, the remaining for our created.
The leftovers.
Exactly. خُلِقُوا مِنْ فَاضِلِ طِينَتِنَا. Now, in this hadith, Imam Sadiq Salamullah alayh, he says that the Holy Prophet Sallallahu alayhi, that they ask him that what you were before the creation, before the creation of the heavens and the earth and the universe. The Prophet said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Kunna anwaran hawla al-arsh. We were lights. Of course, when he says kunna, means him and his holy progeny and family. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
The 14 ma'sumin.
Exactly. As the famous hadith of Thaqalain in the books of the Shia and the Sahah al-Muslimin, the 6 Sahah, they mention Ahlu Bayti, my progeny, Itrati. So when they were created, of course, the first Allah's creation were Muhammad and Muhammad. So they were around the throne of Allah Azza wa Jal. نسبح الله تعالى ونقدسه. We would praise Allah Azza wa Jal, and we would pray to Allah Azza wa Jal. حتى خلق الله تعالى الملائكة, until Allah Azza wa Jal created the malaika. So the first creation were Muhammad and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi majma'in, and then as a result the angels were created to take over the matters of the creation. Because Allah is not something tangible that can come down and talk to us and do things practically. He leaves it to His creation, the malaika and the prophets and their vicegerents to take over. Illa, the Prophet says the exception here, that illa anna khuliqna min nur Allah ta'ala, except that we were created by Allah's nur. Allah Azza wa Jal created great nur. From that nur, Allah created Muhammad wa Muhammad sallallahu alayhi. Wa khalaqa shi'atana min shu'a'i nurina. And Allah Azza wa Jal created the Shia, the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and the Holy Prophet, from the ray of the light of Muhammad and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi. فَشِيعَتُنَا مِنَّا. Thus our Shia is from us. يعني they belong to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. They are part of Ahlul Bayt, from their tina, from their origin, from, as you said, left over of their creation, attached as a result. So, and this, of course, this decision was made in the alam al-dhar, the alam before this alam, in which when Allah said in the Holy Quran, أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَى, that when they said, Allah said to the creation, when He gathered all the creation from Adam till the day of judgment in a tiny sizes on one of the mountains, He spread them in this dunya, and He said, أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ, they all said Bala, but of course the first who said Bala was Muhammad, and then his family sallallahu alayhi majma'in, and then of course his Shia and followers as a result. So that's why they've been chosen in that alam.
So Sheikhna, is it a case of that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the Shia for the Ahlul Bayt, or is it that we purposely, voluntarily chose to follow the Ahlul Bayt, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to make us with the leftover light?
Exactly as you said, we have been given the choice.
Okay.
إما شاكرا وإما كفورا, to be thankful or to be disbelieving. We made this decision, and you can see, for example, Hur al-Riyahi,
yes,
radwanullah alayh, that he made this decision on the day of Ashura to join the camp of Hussein alayhi salam, and others who joined the Imam alayhi salam from Ibn Sa'd and the Yazid's army. So it's our decision to come towards the right path. And of course, that would be included as a result.
Inshallah. Just a quick reminder to all our viewers that we are taking in your questions live. I've already got loads of questions coming in already. But if you'd like to send in your question, you can send it via the WhatsApp numbers below. You can scan the QR code there in the corner. Or if you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, you can send in your questions in the comment section. Or you can give us a call live, 0203 515 0199 if you are in the UK. And if you're outside the UK, just call the WhatsApp number. They'll put you through to us, inshallah. Shall we begin, Sheikh, now?
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. This is from WhatsApp. On YouTube, there's someone that says he is the riser of Imam al-Mahdi, actually speaking the truth and preaching knowledge of the Ahlul Bayt. Are we allowed to believe him? This is from last week, I believe. We have loads, Sheikh, now. We have people that claim either that they are the Imam of the time, they are the savior of mankind, or that they've met the Imam or they work with the Imam, they have access to the Imam and so forth. Are we allowed to believe, accept in these claims?
Initially, we have statements that they say whoever claims to be the Imam and so forth is a liar. So there's no such a thing at all. Those who represent Allah Azza wa Jal on earth, they are connected in somehow, and they have to show a sign. For example, in the Holy Quran, about Isa alayhi salam, when he was sent to Bani Israel, but he came with a sign, with miracles, with karamat. So in this verse, he says, وَأُنَبِّئُكُمْ, and I would inform you and tell you, بِمَا تَأْكُلُونَ, what you eat, وَمَا تَدَّخِرُونَ فِي بُيُوتِكُمْ, what do you eat at home, and what do you keep, let's say in the fridge as today, what you store at your home. I can tell, this much kilograms of, let's say, wheat, barley, dates, I can tell. Exactly. Allah gives this. إلا من, you know, عالم الغيب. Allah would of course be the actual ghaib knower, all knower, but He would give some of this ghaib to those who deserve it, like Isa alayhi salam, who knew what people used to store in their houses and homes. You know, the amount of food, the type of food, for example, what they ate today, for example. So those who claim that they are the Imam and so forth, they have to prove it through a mu'jiza or karama, a miracle. Otherwise, they are liars, according to the statements.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can you tell us what are the best surahs to recite while in prayer? And this is after Surah Al-Fatiha. We were always told in the Hawza, in the first rak'ah, it is highly, highly, highly recommended, as in, it's not recommended, but it was like almost made wajib, and they didn't out of ease for the followers, was to recite Surah Al-Qadr. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr, what we recite on these nights. You should recite that in the first rak'ah after Surah Fatiha. And we were told in the second one, you should recite Surah Tawheed. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Is this correct? Are these the two, for the prayer, these two are very, very important?
Yes, indeed, very encouraged to recite Al-Qadr and Surah Al-Ikhlas. And there's emphasis on Surah Al-Ikhlas, that make sure you mention it at least once a day, at least in the Salah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's very encouraged, because it's a Tawheed, Allah Azza wa Jal, in this few verses of the Holy Quran. And Tawheed Allah Azza wa Jal. But of course, one can actually extend the time lap of Salah, you know, which is also encouraged. If you want to pray for 15-20 minutes, make it longer. Yes, you can add, let's say on Friday, Surah Al-Jumu'ah, for example.
Yes.
And Surah Al-Munafiqun, second rak'ah and so forth. Surah Al-Saf. Other surah, Surah Tabarak.
There's Surah Al-Fajr.
You can add, exactly, to extend the time of your Salah longer and longer.
From YouTube, how will we meet Allah after death and Qiyamah? Sheikhna, will we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I've heard somewhere, and I believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I think it's Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to him that you will never ever see me, you will never ever meet me. But yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment.
You see, we have been given limited intellect and knowledge in this world. Allah Azza wa Jalla is the all-knower, and His knowledge is without any borders and
deficiency.
It's infinite and never ends. So the one who is limited in his intellect and his knowledge cannot understand and comprehend the one who is infinite in his knowledge and all-knower. We cannot understand Allah Azza wa Jal. What we know through the Holy Quran, through the narrations of Ahlul Bayt, through Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, that there's a creation and there's a creator. And there's a, I can't say there's a gap or difference.
Yes.
There's no measurement tool or some kind of barometer that can say this is Allah and this is the creation. So there are created beings from solid, liquid, gas, and so forth, and Allah Azza wa Jalla is something that laysa kamithlihi shay', nothing is like Him. So we try to portray it and draw in our minds.
I think the best way to say it is, I can't tell you what God is, but I can tell you what He is not. You know, He doesn't have a body shape. He is not, you know, limited to space, time, and area. He's not. His knowledge is not limited, and so forth. But what He actually is something beyond comprehension. Sheikh, I do believe we have a phone call from one of our viewers. Can I confirm that with the production? Inshallah, that person will be there. Assalamu alaikum. MashaAllah, thank you for calling in. You are now live on Ahkam SOS with the Sheikh. Please give us your question.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How are you?
Assalamu rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah.
My question is, if you have a cousin that is mahram to you, is it allowed that if she hugs you?
Okay, thank you for your question. Inshallah, the Sheikh will answer it now. Sheikhna, very, very common within family. We always have aunties and uncles hugging and so forth. And then, you know, sometimes with cousins. Sometimes the cousin is way older than us. I have cousins who are a good 20, 30 years older than me. And vice versa. I have cousins who are a good 10 years younger than me and so forth. Am I allowed to hug my cousins?
You see, when it comes to the issue and the method of non-mahram, somebody who is not halal to you,
Yes.
somebody who is not your auntie, if you're a male, or your uncle, if you're a female, and somebody who they have to wear hijab from you, if you're a male, then she has no difference in terms of the mahramiyya between the woman who is in the street. If that's haram, this is haram as well. It doesn't matter if you know her for the past 30 years, maybe you grew up in one house, in one, let's say, alleyway, in the same area, in the same village. When she becomes baligha, and you become baligha, and you reach the age of adolescence or puberty, she becomes haram to you. So no hugging, no shaking hand, no cracking joke, no banter. All the haram consequences would be applied on this individual. It doesn't matter if you know her. Yes, as a salatul rahim, as a mustahab or wajib, one should have some kind of connection. Salam alaik, just a general salam alaik, professional, as you mentioned many times. But to go beyond that, to hug and shake hand, well, that's haram and forbidden.
What about the opposite? What about the mahram? My mom's sisters, my dad's sisters, and so forth.
Well, that's going to be your aunties, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they're halal to you.
No problem there?
No, shaking hand, hugging, being without hijab. Yeah, why not?
Right. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How do you do tawassul?
Best way is to go back, excuse me, to the Ad'iya of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam. So when you go back to the dua at-tawassul, for example, إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله. Dua tawassul is a good example. Again, different ways of Allah Azza wa Jal has placed it for us to do tawassul to reach Him. As the Quran says, وَابْتَغُوا إِلَيْهِ الْوَسِيلَةِ. The Quran itself is a wasila. On the night of Qadr, we put the Quran on our head and we say, Bika ya Allah.
Yes.
That's a tawassul to Allah through His holy book and His texts and His revelation. Also through Ali Muhammad salamullah alayhim. Al-wasila, I think I mentioned the tafsir of this, of wasila, what the meanings of the wasila to Allah Azza wa Jal. Imam Ali salamullah says, Ana al-wasila, I am the means towards Allah Azza wa Jal. So saying Ya Ali is not something haram. Because Ali alayhi salam is Allah's servant, abdun lillah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is initially, before he's a messenger, he's Allah's servant and abd. Then he is a messenger.
Yes.
This is the position of these great individuals that became first Abdullah, truly servants of Allah, and then they became messengers and prophets and so forth.
Fantastic. Here, Sheikh, now we've got a question from WhatsApp. And it says, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I hope all is well. Really enjoying the show. Can I talk dirty over chat with the girl that I have done mut'ah with? Is this considered masturbation or it's halal as we are mahram? Okay, Sheikh. So we've got a couple here, boy and girl. They've done mut'ah. Okay. And obviously, as a couple, they've done mut'ah. They're now all halal on one another. And yes, they're going to flirt and talk, inappropriate to the public, but appropriate to themselves. Compliments of grandeur, as they say, and so forth. They're going to be speaking and so forth. Is this okay? Is this allowed? Or is this considered masturbation? Over chat, this is.
Initially, if there is some kind of nikah contract, a valid marriage contract, that's the first stage. And then you have, if this is through a phone call or a video chat, let's say.
Text.
We have to see. I mean, what is allowed is a face-to-face, or
Okay,
let's say over
so
the phone.
over the phone and video chat is okay.
They can actually go through that lustful, let's say,
They can talk.
relationship and so forth. But other than that, we have to see, would the chat be the same thing? It's different because it's just words. So, and it could be anyone. It could be someone else, trying to cheat.
Well, let's assume that we know it's that person. It's their mobile number and so forth, and we've phoned and we've spoken already.
I mean, over, as I said, as a live video or phone call.
That's okay.
But other than that, we have to see what the ulama say.
From YouTube, can I buy clothes that belong to a non-Muslim? If the non-Muslim is selling it.
I mean, it's fine, even if it's a used second-hand clothes. But as long as there's no najasa on it, impurities, you can use it.
From WhatsApp, can I follow a prayer leader if I do not know that he is adil? Can we use husn dhan, Sheikhna?
Well, Ayatollah Sistani and others like Al-Shirazi would emphasize on the fact that you have to achieve and attain adala. It's not just you go and just pray behind anyone you find in the mosque. Abroad when you go for a holiday, let's say, or ziyarah. You have to attend adala, and that can be found through the locals, individuals.
You can ask a couple of people, is
exactly,
he worthy of praying behind? Does he qualify? And so forth. Well, the fact that people are standing behind to pray kind of like shows...
Still, that's just one of the signs. You have to complete this in achieving criteria for imam.
From YouTube, can I pay khums to a sheikh that I do not know?
Initially, the khums should be paid to the marja and the hakim al-shar', that's number one, or his rep, the one who you trust. And secondly, if you don't pay anything to anyone else or any other organization, let's say charity, orphanage, you have to ask ijaza from your marja that I need this 10% or 5% or less or more to pay it to the this particular person. You have to ask for the ijaza, then you can pay him. Otherwise, you can't pay.
Assalamu alaikum, dear Sheikh. I would like to know more about dua yastashir. Was it yastatir?
Yastashir.
Yastashir. And also, who are the first, second, and third in Ziyat Ashura?
Yastashir, there's a dua, I think. Imam Ali mentions about it, and it's a great reward for this dua against the tyrants and so forth, to be read day and night. It's a great dua for protection as well. So it's good to read it.
Fair. Yeah. And who are number 1, 2, and 3 in Ziyat Ashura?
Of course, very clear. Abu Bakr and Uthman, those three individuals, in which they waged this, let's say, a semi-war against Ali and Fatima alayhim as-salam. Very clear, and usurping the Khilafah as a result of the Ummah neglecting, and as the Quran says, انقلبتم على عقابكم, that they deviated from the right path. They went against the true Khalifa of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because the Khalifa, as the Quran says, Allah, I choose the Khalifa. إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة. Not the Ansar and Muhajirin. Nobody has the right to say, I choose my Khalifa, because the Holy Prophet passed away without appointing. No, he appointed in Ghadir Khum, in your books. If you go back to Kitab al-Ghadir, about 9-10 volumes of Allama Ghadir, Allama Amini, in his Ghadir book, all the sources are from non-Shia, Sunni sources about Ghadir, that the Prophet said, Man kuntum mawlah fa'ali mawlah. That's it, it's all there.
Fantastic.
But ala kulli hal, one should choose, again, imma shakiran wa imma, you have to choose the path, either to be thankful to Allah Azza wa Jal, or to be disbelieving. It's your choice, whoever you choose to be your leader, because he will be your leader on the Day of Judgment. So if he goes to paradise, you will be with him, inshallah. But if he takes you to hellfire, you have to be with him. There's no way. Like Pharaoh and Musa. Those who were with Musa in the Passover of the sea, they crossed. Those who remained with the Pharaoh, they eventually drowned. All of them.
Sheikh, I believe we have another phone call on the line. Inshallah, we're able to help them. Assalamu alaikum, viewer.
How are you?
I'm very well. Oh, I think it's the same one. No problem. Your question, please, for the Sheikh.
My question is, I heard from a lecture in Edmonton that from a Maulana was saying that someone said that he proclaims the Mahdi. Is that bad or not bad?
Okay. Is that the only question you have?
And then I have another question. My last question is, if I have been sick away from doing namaz because I have been sick, can I still do namaz still if I am able to, or I am not sick?
No problem. Okay, I'll ask the Sheikh for you now. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you for your phone call. Sheikhna, if one is ill and hasn't prayed his salah for, maybe they were unconscious, maybe they were in a coma, maybe they just very physically weak and weren't 100% conscious and was there. They missed out on their prayers. Can they continue to pray? Can they make those prayer up in qada? Is that okay?
If they're aware of what they're saying and doing, of course, they have to continue praying. But somebody who reaches, let's say, the age of 90, 100, and they absolutely have no idea what's going on in this world. Dementia, Alzheimer, and so forth, and they can't really remember. They can't understand. Of course, the salah is waived on such individuals.
Fair.
That they can't, like a child who is 2-3 years old of age, for example. So, subhanAllah. وَمَنْ نُعَمِّرْهُ نَنَكِّسُهُ فِي الْخَلْقِ, as the Quran says, that when they are aged, they would be slowly going down. So it's like a countdown. From being a youth and young and strong. So it depends on this situation.
What if, for example, there was a period he was ill and he couldn't pray, and now the period is finished? Does he have to make the prayers up, qadha?
Yes, of course. If he couldn't pray for any reason, let's say some kind of, let's say, illness. Again, it depends really what the situation is. But he was aware, for example, he couldn't get up, for example. I mean, we have ahkam about somebody who is ill. Even if you're in your bed, let's say those who had corona, God forbid, na'udhu billah, and they were in the bed for 3 months. So they could feel, but they couldn't do anything. That's not in a way that one should ignore the salah. They can pray while they're in their bed, for example. Because if you can't pray standing, you can sit down and pray.
Down. If not, then
or
lay
you can
down.
Lay down and pray and so forth. So you haven't done, you have to do qada and make them up later.
His other question was in regards to Mu'ammam Maulana speaking on the member, and was saying that he was the Imam Mahdi or so forth. Is this acceptable? Can we believe this person?
As I've said, as the narration states, that they are liars. Nobody can claim to be the Imam of the Zaman unless
they have miracles.
They have to show proofs and miracles, definitely, like Isa alayhi salam. And the Imam, when he reappears, things would be very clear in that time. He would take over the world. It's not just somebody in a local mosque in a village. He claims to be the Imam and so forth. No, he will appear from the Kaaba, and then he moved towards the Kufa, Masjid al-Kufa, to establish.
We're going to go to a short break. Inshallah, we'll continue our discussion here on Ahkam SOS. If you have a question you'd like to send in, please send it in. There's WhatsApp numbers there below. You can scan the QR code. Or if you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section. We will continue this discussion after this short break.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars at home.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or
over
over
Islam
the
established
graves?
based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim countries?
Is there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 09 2155.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of
Is it
scholars at
permissible to
home.
plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the graves?
established based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there
countries?
an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 09 2155.
Yes, you can, scan the QR code and send in your questions to the WhatsApp. If you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section. Or if you'd like, one of our viewers did today, you can call in 0203 515 0199 if you're in the UK. If you're outside the UK, just call in on the WhatsApp number and the technical team will put you through to me. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. We have so many questions to get through, inshallah, and we'll do our best to get through them. Sheikhna, from YouTube, I love this show. I love this show as well. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all of your love and support for this show. Is the flesh of Sadat Sayyids forbidden to wild animals, or is this a fabrication? For examples, lions would not harm Sayyids, as is mentioned in the narration of Imam al-Hadi into the lion's cage.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As the brother mentioned, or the sister mentioned, that yes, with Ahlul Bayt is correct and true. And I think even with the prophets, as far as I remember, but yes, with this narration of Imam Hadi salam is true, that they wouldn't eat Ahl Bayt's flesh is forbidden for them.
This is
for the
to
beasts.
Aimma,
Yeah.
not
But
the
for the
Sadat.
their offspring, I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything particular.
True, even on Yawm al-Ashura in Karbala, a lion came to protect the body of Abu Abdullah Hussein after. Yeah. From YouTube, how do I know for certain that Shia Islam is the right path?
Well, initially you have to research. It's number one. Those converts today, we know many converts who initially became Muslims but non-Shia. And then they started their journey again about the true Islam of Ali Muhammad Salamullah. And discovered that this is the reality.
So many, especially those coming from the Salafi and Wahhabi school, come towards the path of Shia Islam because it made more sense to them, and there was, you could say, holes in their religion, in their madhab, but they found all the answers they were looking for in our madhab.
I mean, if they can just search about this hadith I mentioned earlier, that the Prophet left two weighty things, the book of Allah and his progeny, Kitabullah wa itrati Ahl Bayti. Why did the Ummah Muslim in that time, let's say they took Kitabullah, let's say, for the sake of argument, and they ignored the itra and the progeny? That's the question. And this is a mutawatir hadith, frequently mentioned, as I said, in the Sahih and other books of Ahl Sunnah and the Shia. Of course, we have this strong hadith. Why did they leave Ahl Bayt as a result? And what gives, for the argument, what gives the evidence or in somehow the eligibility for following their khulafa?
Yes.
Look at their CV. What were they in the past? As I've said before, they used to drink alcohol. They were mushrikeen, worshipping idols, statues. They used to fornicate. Na'udhu billah.
Some were homosexual.
على كل حال, but Ahl Bayt never did such at all. That's what they say. Ali karamallah wajha.
Yeah.
Because karamallah means Allah bless his face. Because he never, they say,
he never looked at an idol.
Prostrated on any idol or statue. So shall I leave Ali and follow somebody who used to drink alcohol and wine and fornicate?
They even say with Abu Bakr, the letter to his father, that he said that if it's to do with age, then I am more superior than Abu Bakr is. Because they said Abu Bakr should be the leader because he's older and wiser. And he said if it's to do with age, I'm older.
Exactly.
And if it's to do with wisdom, I know more than he does. So they should follow. I should be the Khalif.
His father Quhafa. Quhafa, son of father of Abu Bakr. Ibn Abi Quhafa. He was older. Then why should they ignore him and not follow him?
Indeed. Sheikh from YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. How to overcome addiction from an Islamic point of view? Oh, good question. Addiction, Sheikhna, is always a problem. From counseling, and I've got friends who have been through the Western form of therapy. It was always about making a decision and sticking to your decision. I'm not going to smoke cigarettes anymore. I'm not going to touch alcohol anymore. I'm not going to watch pornographic material anymore. And sticking to that decision. And the famous saying, one day at a time. Don't worry about tomorrow, don't worry about next week, just worry about today and get through today. And tomorrow we'll worry about tomorrow when it comes. Sheikh, anything from an Islamic point of view to help with those who have, addictions and so forth?
Yes, indeed. Some people brought a youth to the Imam alayhi salam, and it seems that he used to masturbate, na'udhu billah, addicted to this act of haram. So the Imam told the Muslims that find a wife for this young man so he can quit this haram act. So we have to find solutions.
Yes.
You can't just tell them,
solutions.
stop smoking, stop using drugs, stop drinking. You have to put some kind of a solution. If he is masturbating, find him a wife, marry, khalas, sorted. If he's drinking, find him alternative, halal drink, for example. I don't know. We have to, work with the medical field and experts, psychiatrists, for example, to find a solution as well. It's not just a religious solution.
I think there's also, some people have what they call like an addictive personality, that they get addicted to things and so forth. There's a famous celebrity, I'm not going to mention his name, was very, very big and chubby because he was addicted to food. Then he was introduced to the gym, and then he got addicted to the gym. And now he's lost all his weight. He's very, very big and muscular, very, very healthy. And that's one thing I recommend to all the viewers is to get active in your gym. Exercise. The Prophet ﷺ has given great emphasis on swimming, on wrestling, on horse riding, and so forth. Activities to help improve your health and also to give you a clear mind, and that will help you with any addiction and any struggles that you're going through, including depression and so forth. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh and brother, alaikum salam. Always a pleasure. When we do prayers for any person's death anniversary, which date we have to consider? The death date or the burial date? Or sometimes the burial date is different. When we have the anniversary, sometimes there's a Fatiha, or in Pakistan we do this thing called Quran Khani, where we finish the whole Quran, dedicate the thawab to the marhum and so forth. The day they died or the day they were buried?
The day they died, usually. So you would do the 7th day or the Arba'in day or the annual, the first year of his death or her death. You would do Fatiha and Majlis and so forth.
From YouTube, we mentioned about Ilm Ghaib that the Imam Zaman would have, but isn't the Dajjal also able to know some of the Ghaib?
The problem is, even when I go back to the sources, there's not much about Dajjal mentioned in detail. At the end of the day, you have the party of the evil who would appear in the time of the Dhuhr or after the Dhuhr, and you have the party of the Haqq, and Allah Azza wa Jal's vicegerent will be sent with Isa alayhi salam. The details about the reappearance of the Imam salamullah alayhi. So now many people would care about this issue. These are again from the unseen knowledge that we've been told some about it. As I've said, mentioned about the narrations about the Dhuhr and so forth, the Imam says that, or the Prophet that the best deed of my nation is intidhar al-faraj, is to wait, await the faraj, await the appearing of the Imam alayhi salam. And that needs, of course, to practice. وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا, the Quran says, and do something practically.
To help.
Exactly. To propagate Islam, to serve the community, help the people, gather in the mosques, dua, ziyarah, majalis, support those who are in need. You have now people in the world don't have shelter. They're being bombarded and killed. They now sleep in the streets around the world due to the war. Muslim and non-Muslim, again, just to say the Muslims, but even non-Muslims, there are people who are under the bombardment of the tyrants. They've been killed, injured. Try to help them as well. So you have religious side and duty, and you have the humanitarian side and duty as well.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, respected Sheikh and Sayyid. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. If someone claims Allah has parts and location, is this kufr or shirk? I have Salafi family members who say Allah has feet, but not like our feet, hands, etc.
I mean, of course, this is something not acceptable at all in terms of the aqidah. But I haven't seen anyone saying, for example, this is a shirk or kafir like those who have, consider idols, idol worshippers, in which you cannot eat their zabiha, you cannot marry them. Of course, we have different types of levels of kufr. We have the ayah about the Hajj, that if you don't go to Hajj, وَمَنْ كَفَرَ. So different meanings for kufr are there in the Quran and the Hadith. Shirk, again, we have shirk al-khafi, the hidden shirk, and the apparent shirk. So these are levels of shirk and kufr.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Can you tell us more about Dua Yastashir? We've already spoken a bit about it. Is fashion designing haram?
As long as there's no corruption involved, indecency, showing.
But surely, Sheikhna, this is in the design stage, not in the promotion and catwalk and so forth. In when they're drawing and when they're sewing and creating underwear, lingerie, and things like that, these need to be made and designed, for customers. Is that okay?
As I said, if you take part in promoting, as you mentioned, then that's, of course, that's ishkal.
That's problematic.
Yeah, because we have in the Holy Quran that do not participate in spreading ithm.
Okay. Indecencies?
Ithm, like a sin or indecency.
Okay.
Somehow.
More questions coming in. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Is it true that the Imam created the universe by the permission of Allah, or are they khalq and raziq?
In overall, I haven't seen such a thing or a narration with this regard. But Allah Azza wa Jal, as I've said earlier in the beginning of the session, that Allah created malaika, angels who take care of
hold the clouds,
the rain, and so forth. So Allah has, let's say, staff to do the work.
I mean, it's not wrong if it's not unbelievable if someone says that the Imma were the ones who created man, created this universe, bi'ithnillah. There's nothing to say they did, but at the same time, there's nothing to say that they didn't, or it's not far-fetched, you could say. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you said, created the angels to create so much and do so much.
Yeah.
So
we have this in narrations. Narrations, that some angels took part in creating the universe.
Okay, Sheikhna, we have about 10 minutes left and we have a lot of questions to get through. So inshallah, Sheikhna, short and quick. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I just had a question that can we combine Salat al-Shaf and Salat al-Witr after Salat al-Layl?
How do you combine? It's two separate salah. You have two rak'ah and one rak'ah.
Yeah, he can't do it.
You with salam and then you pray, resume with the new salah.
Problem. From YouTube, is it true that the infallibles prayed for their Shia?
Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he prayed for the Zuwar al-Hussein alayhi salam. When they used to be in his time going to the ziyarah and facing difficulties and calamities, that he prayed for the cheeks which are on the grave of Al-Hussein alayhi salam. Oh Allah, have mercy upon those cheeks that touches the soil of the qabr of the Imam salam.
From WhatsApp, salam, is it a good way of gaining knowledge of fiqh by just reading my Marja's Risala Amaliyah from front to back? The reality is, if you go to Hawza, that is your first year, actually your first two modules on fiqh is the Risala Amaliyah of a Marja, and you're going through like the main the hukams and so forth. So to learn fiqh, Sheikhna, do you think is one of the best ways?
Correct. Yeah.
And one of the best Risala Amaliyahs to read in English is His Eminence Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi. There is so many topics relevant to today in regards to finance, business, transactions, spreading Islam in the West and so forth. It's really a very good read. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp, how do we react to Sunni disrespect? Is it revenge or forgiveness taken into consideration the fact that the Ahlul Bayt did not take revenge?
The Quran says بالموعظة والحكمة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. Use the best means wisdom with akhlaq, with the correct speech, and use the right words, the right means to even attract them towards the right path as well.
From YouTube, are there big differences between Sunni and Shia Umrah and Hajj? Is the ziyarah as important as Umrah and Hajj? I believe ziyarah has more thawab, no, than Hajj.
Well, we'll come one by one. So with regards to the difference, there could be slight difference, of course.
Okay,
in
very,
terms of
very
the
minute.
Yes, so they have, let's say, tawaf al-wida', the very last tawaf. We have a tawaf al-nisa instead. So there are similarities, let's say, some differences. In terms of the ziyarah, yes, we have narrations for the one who goes to visit Karbala compared to the mustahab Hajj, let's say, and Umrah mustahab. Of course, the ziyarah would be greater.
From YouTube, is maintenance loan and student loan haram?
One is in need of it, compelled, and it should be a fine.
Maintenance loan is basically when you move away. Let's say I live in London, I go to study in Manchester. Obviously, I can't go back and forth every day. I have to live in Manchester.
Exactly.
So they give me a maintenance loan to pay for rent, to pay for bills, to pay for food and things like that. And then there's a loan for my degree because my degree costs money. Are these haram?
As I've said, if one is compelled, then this should be fine.
From WhatsApp, is Allah's curse upon the kafir who stays away from major sins and the prayer, treat others good and doesn't backbite? Sheikhna, for those who are not believers, who are not Muslim, but show good akhlaq, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sympathize with them?
We have two types of people who, when they die, two things will happen to them. Number one are the disbelievers who are stubborn in terms of their beliefs. They are zalim, tyrants, and so forth. Of course, they will face the punishment and the hereafter. And you have the second type of the general people who are ignorant, who are, as I've mentioned, good people with good akhlaq, but they don't believe in what you believe, and I believe in as a faith and religion. The hadith says, yulha anhum. In other words, they will be ignored in their graves, left sleeping till the day of judgment. And they are awakened on the day of judgment, and they will be tested on that day to see if they pass or they fail.
More questions coming in, Sheikhna. Assalamu alaikum, respected Sheikh. And Sayyid, alaikum salam, thank you. During the time of the Imams, would people go to them and ask them to directly give them children, sustenance, health and wealth?
In terms of dua, I mean, we have today mu'mineen, people go to their, because they are ulama, for example, they are in a high rank of piety and so forth, they would ask the dua, and sometimes subhanAllah is answered. You would go to the shrines of Ahlul Bayt in Karbala, Najaf, ask for these hajat will be given, and we've seen many people, you know, even karamat as a result.
From Islam, respected Sayyid and Sheikh, alaikum salam. Would the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam put the Quran on his head with the early companions? When was this done? I think he's talking about the amal that we do on Eid al-Qadr, putting the Quran on the head and doing tawassul and so forth. Was this ever done by the Prophet or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
You see, we go back again to the hadith of the Thiqlain, Kitab Allah wa itrati ahli bayti. So what the itra do, the family of the Prophet do, is hujjah upon us. There are ahkam which the Prophet, for example, left it for his progeny Ahl Bayt to elaborate on this ahkam, specific ahkam. He gave the broad and the complete religion, akmaltu lakum dinakum. He gave the broad, general ahkam. But Ahl Bayt came and they've elaborated these ahkam in more details. That's how we have fiqh al-Sadiq alayhi salam, fiqh al-Rada, fiqh al-Baqir. They came and they nurtured students, amongst them Abu Hanifa, as you know, one of his students, when he said, لولا السنتان لهلك النعمان. If it wasn't for those 2 years, Nu'man, name of Abu Hanifa, I wouldn't have been here. I would be just a merchant, somebody who would, sell some food and so forth. So Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they present Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, according to this famous hadith of Thiqlain.
Ahsant. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Did Imam Ali himself tell us to directly ask him for our hajat, or did he teach us to ask Allah directly for the sake of the Ahlul Bayt?
I mean, we have to see if there's a narration of this regard. So I can say yes, he said. But in overall, this is established from the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, that the Quran says, وَابْتُغْ إِلَيْهِ وَسِيلَةً. That seek means towards Allah Azza wa Jal. If the Quran is wasila, Ahlul Bayt also is the wasila, because they are the speaking Quran. And we have narrations like Imam I think Hadi alayhi salam, when he was ill, he would send somebody from either Medina or Samarra to go to Karbala and to pray for his illness. He said, you are the Imam, you can pray. He said, no, there are places Allah likes to be called from those locations and lands and spots. And Karbala is one of them, under the dome of Abu Abdullah Hussein salam alayhi.
Assalamu alaikum, dear Sheikh. Is it also important in Shia madhab to learn the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And how can we learn it easily? Well, to learn anything easily, you need to break it down into chunks. Maybe if you learn 10 names a week, within 10 weeks you'll learn all 99 names. But Sheikhna, is it important to learn the 99 names of Allah? Allah has more than 99 names. Joshin Kabir, Joshin Kabir has shown 1,000 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Sheikhna, learning the 99 names of Allah.
I mean, knowing the names is something. Learning the recitation of the Holy Quran is something, and to know the meanings, which is the most important. To know why Allah is Ar-Rahman, why is He Ar-Rahim. You have to know the differences. Why is He Al-Qadir, Al-Qadir, Al-Muqtadar, why? To know the meanings is the most important. And the same applies to the Holy Quran. Why should we say, for example, Allahu Samad? What is Samad? Important. To know the meanings rather than just recite and memorize, which is good, fine, but the most important is to know the meanings of it. You have the knowledge of it.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. When Allah says to call upon Him by His beautiful names, some claim this means the Imams. But is it not only Allah who possesses the perfect names? The Imams' names are from the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ali is from A'la. Same with Hassan. Hadi is one of the names of Allah as well, to the guide and so forth. No?
We have a narration with regards to the repentance of Adam alayhi salam. We have this narration that he called by the names of Ahlul Bayt.
Yes.
يا محسن بحق الحسن والحسين يا علي بحق علي يا فاطر بحق فاطمة. So connecting the names of Allah with Ahlul Bayt. They're in line. Kitab Allah wa Atrat Ahlul Bayt. They work together, not separate.
Indeed. Salam Sheikhna. My grandfather has a book where it says Sayyid Khou'i regarded fasting on Ashura without an intent of to celebrate, but out of sadness is mustahab. Do some scholars say it? Do you have any scholars, Sheikhna, in regards to fasting on the day of Ashura?
Sometimes some people get it wrong. When they say fasting, they may mean that to refrain from eating and drinking till the afternoon. And then you break
we call
the fast with, or not fast, but to refrain from eating in the afternoon.
It's very common.
With a water and a date, for example.
It's very common with Pakistanis. We do it from Fajr until Dhuhr Adhan.
Exactly.
And we refrain from eating and drinking. That's it. You know, you'll see them, they might smoke or they might, do other things which are not prohibited in fasting, but they don't eat or drink until, Dhuhr Adhan, 1, 2 o'clock or something, after some Azan and stuff. They may have some food and carry on their grievances. Assalamu alaikum, dear Sheikh. There is no doubt Umar made a threat on the Lady of Light, Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. However, is it kufr to believe he only made a threat and that it is disputed he did it?
As I've said before, you have to have a complete package of aqeedah. And this should be based on facts. Otherwise, we're going to come up with our own opinions and theories and ideologies and become some kind of and create a cult as a result and deviate, na'udhu billah.
Yes.
So we have to always go back to the sources, study them well, go back to the ulama and try to improve and gain more information with this regard to avoid any kind of doubtness. That's the problem. That's where shaitan would penetrate, that causes doubt about initially the attack on the door of Fatima and then moves towards Ashura, that who killed Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and then goes to other Imams alayhi salam that somebody else killed them and not this individual, and so forth. So we have to gain knowledge with this regard initially.
Final question for this evening, Sheikhna. We've had so many, but we can't get all of them in. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Does it not devalue Hajj to claim that ziyarah equals 1 million Hajj? Could this not be ghulu? The reality is, and people forget this, that if it wasn't for Abu Abdullah Hussein and his sacrifice, there would be no Hajj. There would be no Salah, Saum, there would be no Adhan, there would be no prayer, Islam would have finished. And indeed, if it wasn't for Abu Abdullah Hussein's sacrifice, they would have destroyed the Kaaba. They would have destroyed the grave of the Prophet ﷺ. Everything that we have today, we owe to Abu Abdullah Hussein. But Sheikhna, the question is it not ghulu, or is it not comparing ziyarah to be like 1 million Hajj and so forth? Isn't this a bit dramatic?
Again, Kitab Allah wa Atrat Ahl Bayti. If the Atra said, if the family of the Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam something about the greatness of ziyarah and so forth, why should we complain? Kalam Ahl Bayt alayhi salam and numerous ahadith in Kamil al-Ziyarat, this strong, authentic narrator of the hadith, Ibn Qulawayh rahimahullah, that he narrated the hadith in his book Kamil al-Ziyarat. So strong hadith with strong narrations, with strong chain of narrators. There's no doubt that the Ma'asum alayhi salam, when he says something, it's based on something. At the end of the day, you have the body of a great Imam, Afdal Khalqillah, the Panjtan Park, among the 5 best Allah's creation on earth.
Yes.
To be buried in that great land of Karbala, it's part of the heaven. Land of Karbala is part of the heaven and will be taken to the paradise on the Day of Judgment. We become
Inshallah.
part of the paradise where the prophets will reside on the Day of Judgment.
Respected Sayyid and Sheikh, I want to just say that your efforts have been truly benefiting me and my non-Shia family. This is truly a well-presented show. Thank you very much,
Jazakumullah.
viewer. It is our duty to help explain Islamic law to you guys and for you to become...
Imam Hussein Media Group is a virtual university that works on a global scale to spread the true message of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt's peace and blessings be upon them. Imam Hussein TV was established 10 years ago in the city of Isfahan, Iran. We work to cover all aspects of religion, Islamic jurisprudence, politics, philosophy, and many more, and aim to bring the public's attention to the righteous Islamic sect, Shia Islam. Our ultimate goal as a media group is to convey the interpretations of the Holy Quran as well as the traditions and knowledge of the Holy Prophet and his progeny, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon them. Our objectives are to protect and safeguard the Shia youth from the destructive impact of immoral ideologies, standing up against injustice by documenting the oppression of Shia across the globe, as well as encouraging peace and unity amongst the Muslims. To reach our aims and serve the Muslim Ummah, we require a budget that would cover all the expenses for our productions, allowing us to work on different projects. Imam Hussein Media Group is a crowd-funded project. We have no sales nor do we charge for our services. We solely rely on monthly payments, financial contributions, donations, religious alms, and generous gifts. The expenses of each production varies depending on the type of project and the style of filming. There are many elements to a production that requires time and capital. The producer must analyze the costs of the venue hire, equipment, transport, feature fees, set design, staff support, and further additional costs. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, narrated, "The best of people is he from whom people benefit." It is up to you to help the Muslim Ummah come together and help guide the youth in remaining on the correct path of Islam. To take part in this global conquest and to spread the message of Imam Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him, please visit www.imamhussein3.tv or give us a call on +44 0203 515 0199. You can also contact us via WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, or even email us on donate@imamhussein.tv. Let's work together hand in hand to elevate the faith of our Shia youth today.